the Education Lens again. Godfrey Chaz is my name. Godfrey Chaz is my name. And in today's edition, we want to talk about exams. Uneb exams, Uganda National Examination. And many people are celebrating. The newspapers are in business. They are writing about these learners who performed better than others. And schools are also celebrating. I live in a community where there is a school nearby. And the other day, almost we didn't sleep. There was music and dance and nyamachoma. I mean, it's a joyous moment. But don't forget, there are also those who are not rejoicing. And that's what life is about. Sometimes people are rejoicing and others are not rejoicing. It's the same thing as these results come back. There is that celebration which tends to draw attention. But also don't forget, there are those who do not celebrate, to whom these results come as bad news, just as there are those to whom they come as good news. And the question I have for us today to ponder is, do these grades that we celebrate matter? And for those of you who are listening in, and I want to encourage you please to subscribe, press that button and subscribe, but also share. And also you can comment after listening in to my rant. It could be a rant for you, but make a comment. Do these grades matter? Are we finding ourselves too preoccupied with something that may not actually be the reason for the craft? What's the reason for education? As a parent, is this the reason you take children to school so they get an A? Probably. For most people, they could answer in the affirmative that yes, I want my child to get an A. I want my child to get a first grade. I want my children to get 4. How about teachers at school who are in the business of facilitating the teaching and the learning process for our children? What's the objective? Why are you in this? Is your answer an A, to get an A, for them to get an A? Because everyone is interested in education. Parents are interested. They take their children. I actually think parents are the number one stakeholders when it comes to the education because it's their children. But teachers are stakeholders too. But guess what? The government is interested. We have a whole ministry of education which has a budget, meaning all of us contribute to it. We pay through our taxes to see that we have an education system in the country. What's the reason? What's the purpose? And if you've not looked at some of our educational documents, I will encourage you to look them up. We have the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995. In it, they stipulate the goals. They call them the national goals of our education system. The other document is the Kajubi Report, the 1992 government white paper. It also stipulates the national goals for our education system. We also have the Education Act of 2008. It equally stipulates the reasons as to why we have an education system, why Uganda should have an education system, why we have schools, why there are teachers, why there are policies regarding education, why there is teaching and learning that's going on, why we have departments like Uneb that assesses learners. And my question here for us to ponder is, why do we do all of this? Is it for Uneb results? Is it for getting first grades? Are first grades the indicator that actually this learner learned something? They acquired the goals and objectives that are set for that grade level? Does getting 4, is it the indicator that this is a successful learner? It may be yes and no. But if we are not careful, we might be mistaken. We might be hitting the wrong target because the preoccupation now is on getting super A's and getting first grades. And that has preoccupied almost all the stakeholders, the parents, the teachers themselves, I was watching one program again in the media, and this teacher was being interviewed, and in his submission he said that, yeah, one of the reasons that helped them to actually get the first grades they got is that they work so hard and make sure by end of second term they have gone through the entire syllabus, and the rest of third term is for them to, the students just simply revise. And that comes across like, well, maybe this is the ideal. This is what all the rest of the teachers now should emulate and begin to do. In others, there is pressure to finish the syllabus so that you can pass the exams. My question is still stands. Does learning take place because you have completed the syllabus? Remember, you have 40, if I'm trying to be conservative, 40 learners in the class. But many schools, we know many schools that have 100 or even beyond. Are you sure by finishing the syllabus, by making sure you're rushing through to complete the syllabus by second term, all these learners have achieved the objective as to why they are in that classroom? Are you sure that the parents have achieved the objective why they sent their learner to you in the classroom? Are you sure that the reason we have national goals for education as a country and make sure we have them lined out, clearly stipulated in the Constitution, clearly stipulated in the government white paper, in the Education Act 2008, are you sure those reasons are accomplished by you working through completing the syllabus by end of second term? It's possible to complete the syllabus when actual learning has not taken place. It's possible actually to get first grade when you didn't actually learn. When the objective as to why you are in school, you were taken to school, as to why education exists was not achieved. What I'm driving at, we may need to rethink and ask ourselves the real critical question: why education? Why do we have an education system? Why do we need an education system? What is the purpose of teaching and learning? Is it to pass exams, or there is something beyond passing exams? I look at passing exams just like a wedding. Those of you who have gone through a wedding is an event. But the purpose of a wedding is a marriage. But it's possible, again, in our modern era, to forget the marriage and we get preoccupied with the wedding. We organize wedding meetings. We actually solicit for funds for weddings, the wedding party. We buy expensive dresses to put on, a gown, but all of which are going to happen within a space of 3 or 4 hours. And we forget marriage begins after the wedding party. It's the same thing with education. The purpose of education begins after you have passed the exams. Now what? After you've graduated, what next? Who are you going to be? Education focuses on you, the person of the learner, not the stuff you go through or the stuff they take you through. These stuff they take you through, the things you learn, the methodologies the teacher uses to teach you, all those are a means to an end. My prayer is that we do not miss the end and we get so bogged down with the means to an end. In the previous video, if you watched our episode where we talked about the teacher as a trainer, I used a Chiganda proverb that says, Tukuma lubugo nga lubale mube. It's very possible to kukuma lubugo of Uneb when your lubale has been stolen. The real substance is missed out. So what can we do? This is a discussion we need to have to make sure, because I'm not saying exams have no place in teaching and learning. They actually have a place. But it's possible to miss their place. And we get so preoccupied with passing of exams and we miss the real deal, the learning itself, the acquisition of the goals and objectives of the learner. I doubt that in your lesson plan when you go out to teach, now I'm speaking to you if you're a teacher, you always do lesson plans. I doubt that in your lesson plans, you write it out there that at the end of this lesson, I want the learners to pass Uneb, to pass the exam at the end of the day. Just like it's not supposed to be the goal, the chief goal as to why we do what we are doing, we need to rethink the energy, the resources that we are putting in as a nation. And actually, this is where people in the media, you're going to help us, because you are the ones who are so quick to bring your cameras before us simply because exams are out. But exams are supposed to be something that is a part of the child's life as they are learning. Every time they study, they are supposed to be assessed. In any case, we may wonder whether exams assess the learner or actually the teacher is the one who is supposed to be assessed. Because look, it's me, the teacher, who comes with the goals and objectives that the learner is supposed to acquire. Meaning I bring the process of, I facilitate the process to make sure the learner acquires what I set out as the objective, the goals, or the competences at the end of this lesson or this class. So if the learner has not acquired the goals, the objectives, the competences that you set out for them to acquire, who is to blame? Who is being assessed? The time of assessment is a time for me as a teacher to ask myself, did I achieve what I intended? Did I do the right job? Did I do a good job? Did I fail somewhere? Which failing happens. And if I failed, or if the learner didn't acquire the reason as to why I was taking them through this class, what am I supposed to do? In others, exams and assessments are better when they are not summative. They are not a summary. They don't come at the end of the education period. But most of what we are celebrating comes at the end. Now, for example, those who have failed in quotes, what is going to happen to them? Do they have a chance to be retaught? Or we have passed a judgment on them, and that's the end of their lives. You see as to why there are questions for all of us here. I may not have the final answers, but I want to invite you to ponder together and ask ourselves these critical questions. It could be that we have lost the plot and we are running towards something that we are going to regret at the end of the day. It's the education lens. I want to invite you to subscribe, to share, and leave a comment so that we can put the lens together on these critical issues in our education system. Godfrey Chas is my name. Thank you very much.